Robocop, a future where Detroit is collapsing, crime is out of control, and the law is hopelessly outnumbered. Corporations don't just run the city, they own it. From that chaos comes something that was never meant to exist. A fallen police officer rebuilt by a corporation, programmed to serve the public trust, yet haunted by memories that refuse to stay buried. Part action movie, part satire, part nightmare vision of unchecked power, Robocop didn't just fire bullets, it fired ideas. Brutal violence collided with pitch-black humor and razor-sharp social commentary, creating one of the most provocative sci-fi films of the 1980s. These are 20 wild facts about Robocop that explain how it blended ultra-violence, dark comedy, and corporate paranoia so perfectly. And beware, because in this future, the streets are lawless, the system is rigged, and what's left of humanity has to fight back in the most ruthless way imaginable. Number 1. A tribute to Iron Man. During the robbery scene in a convenience store, remember when a criminal grabs an Iron Man comic? That was not an accidental prop placement. The filmmakers intentionally included that comic book as a nod to the influence of comic books on the creation of the main character and his armored identity. Edward Neumeier later mentioned in commentary that he wanted the brief Iron Man sighting to honor one of the inspirations behind Robocop's metal suit and concept. Number 2. Lewis's short hair catastrophe. To make Officer Ann Lewis look more like a tough professional cop in the gritty streets of future Detroit, director Paul Verhoeven had specific ideas about her appearance. Nancy Allen originally had shoulder-length curly hair, but Verhoeven felt it looked too glamorous and not authoritative enough for a police officer. He repeatedly had her hair cut shorter and shorter during pre-production until he was satisfied with the look. A transformation that definitely contributed to her gritty, believable presence on screen. Number 3. Verhoeven versus the effects legend. On the sets of Robocop, there was notable tension between director Paul Verhoeven and legendary makeup artist Rob Bottin. The reason was their creative disagreements over Robocop's armor and on-screen reveal scenes. Bottin wanted lighting and angles to preserve realism, while Verhoeven pushed for brighter exposures. Their clash got so heated that crew members were worried about a physical fight, but luckily, both later acknowledged mutual respect for the iconic sci-fi they created together. Number 4. Neumeier never shot in Detroit. Although the film is famously set in a dystopian Detroit, screenwriter Edward Neumeier never actually filmed there. The city appears only in a stock aerial night shot at the opening of the film, and the rest of the scenes were shot in Dallas, Texas. Some other locations were also chosen for their futuristic architecture. Orion and the filmmakers felt that Detroit's real cityscape did not visually match the harsh urban feel they needed. So much of the principal photography happened hundreds of miles away from the story's nominal setting. Number 5. Nudity choice served a purpose. Robocop includes a moment of quick nudity in an early locker room scene that might seem surprising to audiences at first. According to Paul Verhoeven's commentary, this flash was deliberately staged to underscore a theme about future police culture. Verhoeven explained that in the near-future world of Detroit law enforcement, gender neutrality was normalized, and even casual nudity wasn't intended to carry sexual meaning. That brief flash was meant as a subtle visual cue about this normalization in an extremely violent backdrop otherwise. Number 6. Where was Robocop 2? Before Robocop 2 became the 1990 sequel known today, Edward Neumeier and Michael Miner had an early draft that would have begun with Robocop being hit by a grenade. They wanted to explore what he'd become after decades of dormancy. However, development slowed and was ultimately derailed by the Writers Guild strike in 1988. Orion attempted to ignite the spark again and brought on Frank Miller to rewrite the story, whose darker version was substantially reworked before filming. Number 7. Blade Runner as inspiration. Neumeier's idea for Robocop grew out of something almost as cinematic as the movie itself. While working on the Warner Brothers lot in the early 1980s, he saw Ridley Scott filming Blade Runner nearby. Curiosity won, and he inquired about the film's themes that became a breeding ground for his imagination. What if the robot was the cop? The concept simmered in his mind and eventually evolved into the Robocop screenplay. Number 8. A Day Lost to Keys. Shortly after Robocop is activated and sent out on patrol for the first time, there's a brief but memorable shot of him catching car keys mid-air. What looks like a few seconds on screen took an entire day to film. This was because of the clumsy rubber hands in Robocop's suit that made the keys bounce off his glove repeatedly. The production endured more than 50 takes and long hours before they finally got the single usable shot. Number 9. In the emergency room. When the injured Murphy is brought into the trauma bay before becoming Robocop, the medical team in that sequence wasn't just acting. The filmmakers hired an actual emergency room trauma unit to play the doctors and nurses. Though scripted lines were provided, the director and writers encouraged the real medical professionals to ad-lib dialogue, as they would in actual critical care. That decision gave the scene an authentic urgency to Murphy's final moments before the big transformation. Number 10. Music borrowed from Terminator. To promote Robocop before its release, Orion Pictures cut a theatrical trailer that used music from another cyborg blockbuster, The Terminator. Even though that score wasn't part of Robocop's own soundtrack, the studio leveraged the familiarity and visceral punch of Terminator's music to grab audience attention. It helped position Robocop alongside other familiar sci-fi violence and implied a shared intensity that boosted early public interest ahead of its box office run. Number 11. On-set scuffle. During the intense shootout inside Clarence's cocaine factory, there's a moment when Robocop grabs Clarence Boddicker and slams him. That wasn't entirely gentle choreography. Peter Weller's grip was firm enough that the actor who played Boddicker actually struck his forehead against Robocop's chest plate and suffered a minor cut. Smith stayed in the scene, and the slight injury became another gritty anecdote from the excruciating production of this masterpiece. Number 12. Stan Lee passed the circuit. When Edward Neumeier first envisioned Robocop, he toyed with the idea of launching it as a comic to spark interest. He brought his notes to legendary comic writer Stan Lee in the spring of 1984. Lee reportedly said you could never top that, referring to the Terminator, and politely declined to take on Robocop as a comic project. Number 13. Mime and movement. The director and the studio knew that once Peter Weller was encased in the clunky Robocop suit, his face would be obscured and his expression limited. To bring physical nuance to the performance, Weller worked with a Juilliard mime coach, Moni Yakim, and trained for months to perfect his slow movements. He wanted the personality to emerge through stillness and body language. Although the suit continued to be a challenge, it shaped Robocop's iconic walk. Number 14. Suit Hell and Heat. The Robocop costume was a marvel of foam rubber and fiberglass, but in the blazing Texas sun, it became an inferno. On the Dallas set, temperatures often climbed above 100 degrees, which made Peter lose up to 8 pounds of water weight a day from being inside the suit. Crew members eventually came up with the idea of attaching cooling hoses to blow cold air into the armor just to keep him conscious and hydrated. Nobody wants the main guy to faint during an intense scene, do they? Number 15. FBI approved. The fearsome automatic pistol that Robocop keeps in his hidden thigh holster wasn't just a prop. It was an actual modified 9mm Beretta variant. This became the reason for seeking FBI approval in order to shoot legally in the US. Weller later recalled that learning to handle and twirl the heavy firearm was like trying to spin half a baseball bat, yet it became one of the defining functional accessories of the character. Number 16. Rated too extreme. When Robocop was first submitted to the Motion Picture Association of America for classification, it was deemed too graphic for most audiences and initially received an X rating for violence. Director Verhoeven trimmed and re-edited several scenes, but still had to resubmit the film multiple times. After roughly 8 resubmissions, it secured the more acceptable R rating for general release. Number 17. Suiting up took a day. The first time Peter Weller ever donned the full Robocop suit, it was like entering another world. Fitting into the costume wasn't a matter of minutes, but hours. Extreme plaster casting, foam rubber panels, helmets, visors, and mechanical closures meant the process took about 11 hours before filming could even begin. That slow transformation helped Weller bond physically with Robocop, but made every day of shooting a horror. Number 18. Director cameo at the disco. In one of the film's iconic nightclub scenes, Robocop confronts the thug Leon Nash after Nash tries to kick him in the crotch. Just after that moment in the cut, many fans claim you can spot director Paul Verhoeven making a very animated cameo in the crowd, gesturing wildly as his character loses patience with the chaos unfolding. Number 19. Fried chicken ad fame. Long after its theatrical run, Robocop achieved unexpected commercial stardom in South Korea. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, the character was featured in local television advertisements selling fried chicken to Korean audiences. These commercials played on Robocop's pop culture status as a humorous take on the stoic cyborg that seems a long way from dystopian Detroit. Number 20. Statue of Future Past. What once lived only in celluloid has finally been cast in bronze. Decades after the original movie's release, fans crowdfunded a Robocop statue for Detroit, similar in concept to the city's famed Rocky Monument. After years of planning and delay, an 11-foot bronze Robocop now stands in Detroit's Eastern Market, both as a tribute to the film's influence and a symbol of the city's cultural legacy decades after the dystopia imagined on screen. So, the next time Robocop steps into the rain, remember, he's more than steel and directives. He is a mirror held up to power, violence, and corporate greed. Few films fire this many bullets and ideas at once. In the end, the future didn't need a hero in a cape. It needed a cop who never clocks out. Subscribe now, because when all of humanity is stripped away, Robocop proves there's still something that fights back.